Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we had Summer Game Fest yesterday and there's just a whole lot of information coming out of this. And Microsoft made some pretty big announcements as well. We have these topics to cover and more, but before we get started, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so we can keep you up to date with all the latest gaming news. Now let's get started. So there was just a whole lot of information coming out of Summer Game Fest, and I'm going to try to hit these points pretty quickly. First, we saw some new gameplay for a few games. We had Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and we got an 8-minute playthrough of a level called Dark Water, which has Task Force 141 infiltrating an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. Then we saw extended gameplay for the Callisto Protocol. And then we got a new trailer for Street Fighter 6, this time featuring Guile. We got another look at the Cuphead DLC, The Delicious Last Course. And then we saw footage from Witchfire, Zenless Zone Zero, and The Quarry. And we also saw Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. And then we got to see footage for Soul Hackers 2, and the pre-orders are available now, and that launches on August 26th. And then we had some new game announcements. First we saw Flashback 2, and this is a 2.5D sequel to the original 1992 sci-fi platformer, so this is 30 years after the original game launched. We also got a new Aliens game, Alien Dark Descent, and this is a horror game, and it's going to be on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series systems, Xbox One, and PC. And this is not slated to come out until 2023. And we had Stormgate, and this is a free-to-play real-time strategy game from Frost Giant Studios, which is the studio founded by former Blizzard veterans. And they won't start beta testing this until 2023. We also saw first-person sci-fi horror game Routine. This is a decade after the game was originally announced, and it's coming to PC, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and will launch on Game Pass at day one. And then we had kind of a swerve announcement. We have Goat Simulator 3, and it was announced in this sort of Dead Island 2 parody trailer. And I do have to wonder what happened to Goat Simulator 2. But anyway, this is going to be multiplayer, and you can play with up to 4 friends online or locally, and it includes 7 multiplayer mini-games. And then we had a sci-fi horror Fort Solis, and it's in the setting of a Mars mining post. And then we have a new horror game called Layers of Fear. And then the show closed with a Last of Us Part 1 remake. And this is going to be remade graphics, but still use the original voice performances from the original voice actors. It's also going to include new combat elements, and this is coming out September 2nd. And in addition to that, there's also going to be a Last of Us standalone multiplayer game, and they described it as being as big as Naughty Dog's single-player games, and it will be set in San Francisco and have its own story. See, this was originally supposed to be a multiplayer mode for Last of Us Part 2, and it evolved into something beyond that over the last 2 years. And we did have this concept art from that. They didn't have any actual gameplay footage, so I'm not sure how far out this is. And then we had some miscellaneous announcements. We have that Neon White game that I mentioned yesterday that's going to be coming out for the Switch on June 16th. So it's not actually going to get shadow dropped when the Nintendo Direct comes out, but it basically will be out the next day. And then Marvel's Midnight Suns, this is a tactical RPG, and it's going to be out on October 7th. However, the Switch version will be available at a later date. And then we do have confirmed the same games that we saw in our video yesterday for Capcom Arcade Second Stadium, and it has a release date. The digital launch is going to be July 22nd. And then finally, what I thought was the announcement of the show, we finally have a release date for Shredder's Revenge. But before I get to that, we also have Casey Jones joining the cast of this game, and we also find out that it's going to be 6-player online and local. Now, the game is going to come out on June 16th, which would be the day after this rumored direct, but it's also going to be coming out day one for Game Pass, so I'm kind of regretting my pre-order for this on the Xbox right now, but I imagine it won't be on Game Pass forever, and this is a game I will want to go back and play in the future. So that was a whole lot of information to go over, and I didn't cover absolutely everything announced. But of the things that I covered here, what excites you the most? Obviously for me, it's Shredder's Revenge. I've been waiting for this game for a year now, and I am absolutely stoked to play it when it comes out this coming Thursday. Next, it looks like we have sort of a leak for the DLC for Forza Horizon 5. We have this post over on Reset Era, the new Hot Wheels expansion leaked with the updated premium add-on banner. And you can see the banner here shows Hot Wheels is going to be the first expansion for Forza Horizon 5. Now, I heard some people say that they took this down, but when I checked over on Steam, it was still there. And we had a Hot Wheels expansion for Forza Horizon 3, and it added this track overlay, and the world had some pretty cool loops and corkscrews, so I'm looking forward to this. Now, I'm hoping we'll see footage from this at the Xbox Showcase on Sunday, and I'll be sure to include it in my video Monday if we do. And then in a couple of official announcements from Microsoft over at news.xbox.com, it looks like that highly rumored Samsung app is finally coming to fruition, bringing the Xbox app to Samsung 2022 smart TVs. Today we announced we're partnering with Samsung to bring the Xbox app to 2022 smart TVs so that you can play hundreds of cloud-enabled games without a console. This means that hundreds of games in our Game Pass Ultimate library and Fortnite without a subscription. Playing Xbox games on Samsung 2022 smart TVs will be a seamless experience. It will be similar to using any other streaming app on your TV. It's simple. Starting on June 30th, access the Xbox app from the Samsung Gaming Hub or Media Hub and log into your existing Microsoft account, connect your favorite Bluetooth controller. If you're a Game Pass Ultimate member, you'll have access to play loads of great cloud-enabled games, or you can jump into Fortnite without a subscription. Now, I wanted to emphasize that this will only start on Samsung's 2022 models. So if you have a Samsung TV that you bought last year, this won't be available. And we did have leaks that Microsoft and Samsung were working on this, so Samsung probably had to redesign their hardware to make it work. And I'm guessing that's why it won't be available on older models. So this announcement also comes after the recent addition of Fortnite being added to the streaming service. This allowed gamers to play it on an iOS device after the game was removed from the App Store for creating their own in-game store to keep Apple from taking their 30% cut of the microtransactions. And it also looks like you can use a Bluetooth controller, so it won't require a special controller. And they even mentioned that you can use a DualSense controller. So while this is an exciting announcement, you gotta realize that you will have to be subscribed to Game Pass to use it, and you're gonna have to buy a 2022 Samsung TV. Now over time, as people replace their TVs, the Xbox Game Pass app will just be there. So this is definitely a long-term strategy, but not something a lot of people are going to be able to take advantage of right now. And while we're on the topic of Game Pass, they also added this: get more out of your Xbox Game Pass membership. We're excited to share that later this year, it's our intent to roll out the ability for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members to play from the cloud select games that they already own or have purchased outside the Xbox Game Pass library. We're also revealing the first details of Project Moorcroft, a program that brings the fun and discovery of playing new, curated demos of upcoming games to our Xbox Game Pass members. Now, this program will be rolling out within the next year, and we don't have an exact date yet. But one of the cool things about this is developers who participate with their demos will get feedback of how well it performed, and it says they'll also be compensated. And back to the topic of being able to stream your own games, I think that's a pretty neat idea, but you gotta remember you're going to have that digitally. I typically like to pick up physical games, so I don't think I'll be able to stream those unless I'm able maybe to leave the disc in my Xbox. But at least it'll be a cool option to try if you're maybe on the go, or if you're going to be streaming it with one of those Samsung TVs. And then finally, let's take a look at the latest Famitsu sales coming out of Japan. So we have a couple of new entries this week, but first we have Nintendo Switch Sports starting at the top, and then a new entry for the Switch, the Quintessential Quintuplets the Movie, 5 Memories of My Time with You. And then we have Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then again the Quintessential game coming out for the PS4, and then Minecraft, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, eBaseball, and then The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And this Quintessentials game is basically a visual novel, and it's based off of a Japanese anime movie. So this most likely will be something we won't see come to the US. And let's take a look over at the hardware sales. We have the Switch OLED in the first place, and then we have the PlayStation 5 coming in number 2 before the Switch and Switch Lite. And again, the Xbox Series S is still performing fairly decent at number 5, with the Series X behind that, and then the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition coming in at number 7. And I do find it interesting that the Xbox Series S and the PlayStation 5 Digital Editions both don't have disk drives, but yet the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition doesn't do nearly as well as the Xbox Series S. This may have more to do with a larger install base of PlayStation 4s in Japan and how people want to be able to continue to use those discs on the newer system. Since the Xbox One didn't do very well, this kind of makes sense that if you're going to jump into a new system, why not just start off with digital? And that's all we have for today. Did anything we cover catch your attention? Let me know if there's any announcements that came from Summer Game Fest that you're excited for. And how long do you think it might be before we see the Xbox Game Pass app on more TVs and it becomes a common app that just every smart TV has? Drop a comment about those topics or anything else we discussed today. I want to thank you for watching, have a great weekend, and be good.